What's going on, y'all? Today we have some Honda 400EX headlight assemblies. These are by PowersportPrints on Etsy. And today we're going to be installing the round ones on my 2001 Honda 400EX. So with these headlights, you have a couple of options. You have white spot, you have white flood, yellow spot, and yellow flood. I have the white floodlights, so you can see how they look compared to the factory ones. It comes with the brackets and the lights and all the installments. I did have to do some different mounting, and then we're going to check into what I had to do with that, and then let's get these bad boys installed. So the brackets and the bolts that came with the lights wouldn't allow them to bolt in through the middle. So what I did was that I took a bolt, I cut the head off, and then I threaded it into both of the lights. That way it gave me a little bit more room, and it should be just as strong as using the brackets that came with the light themselves. And also with this, as long as you cut the bolts long enough and also short enough at the same time, you should be able to do some small adjustments so that they will fit into the housings. And once you get them adjusted, give them a little test fit, and after this we can get to modifying the brackets, since we will no longer need the inside bracket to this light. So the first time when I cut the inside of the bracket, I did not cut enough, so I had to go back a second time and I cut the bracket off all the way at the bottom. So let's start getting these plastics off. We got 2 screws in the front. Let's get the seat off so we can get the 2 screws on the side, get the 2 screws in front of the tank, and then take off the gas cap so you can get the gas tank cover off, and then kind of jiggle the key out, and then from there you should be able to lift the plastics up and kind of out the way, and then we can start taking out the light assembly, and then finally we can remove the light, and then let's go to the bench and let's compare the two to make sure that they are somewhat alike. So as we can see, the lights look very similar. They do have the mounting points on the bottom are in the same spot. It has the same mounting position at the top, but as you can see, the new LED lights are a little bit more flat, so they will not stick out that inch or so like it does from the factory. I did not want to cut the factory harness, but to make this work, I'm going to have to. So in this loom, it starts off as 3 wires and then it splits to 6 wires. So I'm going to take the loom apart and I'm going to cut it right where it starts at the split for the 2 light sockets for the stock headlights. So I took my multimeter, and in most cases, in almost all cases, black or green is going to be ground. So I'm sticking my negative into the green wire. And then now we just need to figure out which of the 2 is going to be for the low beam. Now, since these lights don't have a low or high beam function, it would not matter if you use the high beam or the low beam. Just know that if you choose the wrong one, then you just won't have any headlights. So now let's verify which is which, and then we can choose if we want to connect it to the high beam or the low beam. Now, if you want to use like a high beam LED bar, then you can simply just split the ground, run it to the ground to the LED bar, and then you can run the high beam wire to the LED bar. But first we're going to test the white wire, and when we test the white wire with the low beam on, we get that the white wire is going to be our low beam, because you can see on the multimeter that we got 12 volts. So with the LED lights, I found a white wire and a green wire, so that way it matches the factory wires. So I simply took the 2 lights and I wired them together, and then I shrunk it with heat wrap to try to keep all the moisture out, and I'm going to use bullet connectors to make that connection to the 400EX factory wiring. I trust myself, but I also like to verify that everything works. That way, if it doesn't work during the install, then I can go back to a good known troubleshooting area. But since everything works, and holy crap, these lights are bright, now we can continue on with the install and putting everything back together. Like I said, I chose for the floodlights and not the spotlights. And here you can see the butt connectors that I used, and they do have the heat shrink wrap built into them, so we should have a good watertight sealed connection. I do want to make one note that once you install the brackets, you cannot get the bolt end that mounts to the stock plastics. So you want to make sure that you get that bolt in there first before you mount the brackets for the LED headlights. Or you have to take them apart the way I did. And now that everything is back together, let's put it down on all fours and let's take a look at what it looks like with these new updated LED headlights. And man, that looks good. Now let's turn the lights on, let's make sure it works, and let's see how bright they really are. Because we all know they're going to be way brighter than the factory halogen headlights. And I wish my mic would not have messed up, but it went something like, holy crap, these lights are stupid bright, which they are. And probably some other words that went along with it, but there's one thing I can say is that these lights are very bright. And I will also like to say that if somebody is meeting you on the trail at night, they're probably not going to be your best friend, because these lights are bright and they cast a light very far and very wide. But I just want to step back for a second, and even with my 400EX being maybe 4 feet from that wall, you can see the spread of that light and how bright and how centralized it really is. So especially on a tight trail, this is going to perform very well. Now if you had the spotlight, it would be more centralized, but since this is a floodlight, it actually spreads out a little bit more. And I would just like to point out that I could not get the stock push pins to push in on the side where the housing meets the fender. So I simply zip tied the two pieces together, and then I put a zip tie from that hole into the fender to hold everything on, and it feels pretty secure, and I'm not really worried about it going anywhere. If you look at it real close, you can see the zip tie, but shouldn't nobody be really getting that close and kind of criticizing what's going on. And for whatever reason, my key won't fit all the way down in there, and I will figure that out at a later date. But let's go on a ride. work excellent. Man, it is 34 degrees out here. I'm freezing. These lights, my lens dirty. Those lights work good. They work real good. They are bright. So this is like eye level. This is up top. That's blinding. So on the trails, people are gonna hate you if they meet you on the trail. And that's the floodlight, not the spotlight. The spotlight is probably much worse than that. So yeah, 10 out of 10. I definitely recommend, but they are bright as holy hell. They are bright. Really bright. I'm running all the gas out of here before I park it. These are bright. They're bright. So 10 out of 10. I definitely recommend. The links will be in the description below. I will probably do a separate video of the square ones in my buddy Cortland's yellow and black 400EX. So, like everything you do, think, build, enjoy. Peace. It's not a sponsored video. I paid full price. I bought just the housings from PowersportPrints. I bought the lights separately. So it looked like on his round lights, the lights that he supplies, it looks like they have bolts that bolt up top and bottom. The lights that I bought off of Amazon didn't have that provision, which is why I used the bracket. So if you get one of the kits from him, the lights will have a bolt on top and bottom, and then you can easily access that. But I went back, looked at my video, and mine didn't have those holes in there to mount them up. And it looks like he also may include a connector that connects into the OEM harness, so you don't have to do that either. So if you want a literal plug and play setup, he has the round ones for $109, and then he has the square ones for $79.99. So both of those will be plus shipping, which I believe is about $8. Comes from Florida, so you can get it done. So I will have the link in the description below. Like I said, I have no affiliation with them. I saw somebody that posted it on the 400EX Facebook page, and I had to have them. So I bought 2 sets, one for me, one for my buddy. So PowersportPrints, and his name is Cash Blaylock. So I'll have the link in the description below for both of them. If you want a set to update your 400EX to give you better lighting, this is what you want.